welcome our next speaker, Mr. Koka Prasad, who like who is well-known, renowned speaker for most of us here. And Mr. Prasad teaches and conducts communication and leadership workshops, mentors and coaches speakers in and around Vizag and rest of India. He is the first person from the state of Qatar to win the country-level contest 7 times. Mr. Prasad is also an ambassador for Agora Speakers International for India. He is founding president of Vishaka Orators at Vizag. Mr. Prasad worked for major oil company in Middle East for 20 years, and he has hands views on pitfalls of pitching. And it would be a privilege to all of us to listen and learn from him on how to pitch in on this while you are pitching for the business. Now I welcome Mr. Prasad to share his views on pitfalls of speech.
Thank you, Ram, for the wonderful introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I'd like to tell you a story. And before I run into that story, I would like to ask you how many of you have a smartphone here? Those who don't have a smartphone, please leave the room. Almost everybody has a smartphone here. Okay. Now, it was in the year, I clearly remember, it was something like 1989. I was asked to travel on a train. I was young. I had a huge box with me, and my former employer asked me to take up an assignment in Delhi. And I had to board the train, buy a ticket at the ticket counter, and I traveled on the train without reservation at the near the bathroom. I slept near the bathroom for 2 days and traveled towards Delhi. And those who had money and those who had that courage to go and talk to the TT were bribing the TT ticket collector, buying tickets for a hefty price, 500 rupees, 1000 rupees. They were able to flash money and buy a berth. For me, it was difficult to even go and put my hand through the crowd to the ticket collector. And I always wondered why we had to travel that way. And how many of you found yourself in a predicament where you had to travel today and you had to buy a ticket? You didn't have reservation. How many of you traveled that way? Instantly, you're supposed to go today and you buy a ticket. Almost everybody. We faced it. Then I was thinking now is the time where we have this AI and we have this big data. We have all the technologies in the world. Why not we know the amount of seats vacant in a train at any given time? Now, have you found yourself trying to buy a ticket where the train has already left the station? Let's say the train is traveling from Calcutta to Madras, let's say Chennai. Now, if you were to book, you're going to board at Visakhapatnam. If you want to book a train ticket on this Howrah Mail, for example, the train has already left in Howrah. Will you able to buy a ticket on the train, a reserved ticket? Only current reservation. You have to go to the counter. Now, what if I tell you no charts being prepared? After charts are prepared, you have yeah. Now, if I tell you, I have an app which you can go to the PlayStation, download the app and run it, and you will find booking anywhere in India for any train. Would you be interested to have that particular app? Having faced this difficulty, yes, you would. Now, the reason I'm telling this story is I want to know what is your story when you pitch? How did you come up with an app? We had our first speaker. Where is he? Yeah, there you are. What made you think of the app? The story behind the app. How do you connect with the audience? My question to the audience, as soon as I came up, I struck a conversation with the audience and I involved the audience. Have you found yourself in a position during COVID where you wanted vital doctor uh, appointment where you couldn't have opening? What is your story? What made you think of that app? What made you think of that design? Whatever you're coming to, whenever you're pitching something, connect with the audience first and then pitch your app, right? That's what I mean to say. Now, here is Naveen Jain, is the founder and CEO of Wyoming, and he had something very interesting. This was in the paper 2 days ago, yesterday probably. You've seen it, sir, Ravi, sir? Yes. What struck me here is the whys there. Can you read the whys there? I'll take it to the next screen. The three whys. Naveen Jain has to say something very interesting. The three whys. Yes, sir. You, okay, I thought. All right, thank you. Thanks very much. Okay, the three whys. Now, before you even pitch the app, you need to talk about these three whys. You don't need to say these are my whys, but you need to talk about this topic. What does my app offer you? What is it as a game changer? What is it as a differentiator? That's what you're talking about here. And why now? Why now? Because we have the big data, we have 5G, we have cloud data, and everybody has a mobile phone now. Now, this is the time to have that. That is because that's why we have this why now. 10 years ago, I couldn't think about it. We never even had these gadgets, right? Why now? And why we? Why we? Who are you? How can you make a difference? Who is your team? Right? It's something you need to ask yourself and something you need to define in whatever you're pitching. You don't need to say that as why, and why, but you can mix it up in your story. Now, I'd like to see a mission and a vision statement for everybody who pitches because that gives you a definition, that gives you a destination. A mission is a destination, and a vision is how you go there. It's the vehicle that takes you to the mission. Where is your mission and vision? I would definitely like to see your mission. What do you want to be? What's your big picture as a mission? Have you thought about? Maybe it's there on the website. I'm not sure. I would say mission is to deliver care at the house of the community. That should be your pitch. My vision is to deliver care at the pitch, at your home, at the comfort of your home. That's what you're trying to say here. When I say craft a mission and a vision statement, as soon as you have a bright idea, what am I going to solve? What will be my mission there? And how will I get there? That is my vision. What's the vehicle that will take me to my mission? That is your vision. Right. Now, Wyoming has a great mission statement, and I like it. And it's short and it's precise, concise in whatever they say. I've so your standard pitches are going to be 3 minutes and 5 minutes, sir. How do you 5 to 7 minutes sometimes? And I've seen people pitching content heavy. When you're showing an audience a screen, it has to be. And I have a rule where I teach people when I teach presentation skills. A 20 30 rule. 10 20 30 rule is not more than 10 slides, not more than 20 minutes, not less than 30 size font. Okay. And we also tell them that if it's too content heavy, people will start reading all over. Some of your screens I found were content heavy. Yeah. Now, a general rule is you spend 2 minutes per slide. 2 minutes plus slide. If you're going to talk for 10 minutes, you should have only 5 slides. If you're going to talk for 20 minutes, you only have 10 slides. Don't go beyond that. It becomes content too heavy and too fast. We Indians tend to speak very fast, very, very fast. Think about the audience. It'll be difficult. You're asking them, makes it even difficult for people to concentrate whatever is on the slide, right? Your audience. How many of you think about who the audience is when you pitch? Who are your investors? How many of you really research your investors or your in the audience? Not many. To tell you the truth, the other day I was watching uh, one pitch, which is a 3 minute pitch. It was by a lady called Anushka Shetty, and she was pitching in a platform called Pitch Right. Have you heard about Pitch Right? And you know, Pitch Right, yes. And she was talking about an application she made, which is about plop stories. She calls it plop stories. Nobody in the audience understood what she was saying, and the investors didn't get what she was trying to say. She had a good pitch, tell you frankly, but she was overwhelming. None of them invested in her. And she was talking about her. She's from IIM. My handsome husband there is also from IIM, and all that blah 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 blah. And she wasted 3 minutes pitch, and she is talking about herself and who she is and what she's been doing, rather than talking about what you're pitching. Too much time spent. Find out who your investors are going to be. Are they in the same line? Will they understand your slides? It's something you need to think about before you go and pitch. Time frame. Like I said, 2 minutes per slide. If it's a 3 minute pitch, three slides. Nothing. Three is very difficult to pass through in a 3 minute pitch. How will you talk about all the slides when you're given a 3 minute slides? I'm on pitching time and with Q&A. One girl I've seen very cleverly in one of the pitches, she used all the 3 minutes and she didn't talk about her metrics and financials. And when it came to the QA time, that's when somebody asked her, "What about your financials and QA?" She spent the QA time to pitch her financials and the figures. It was clever of her to do that. Okay, when the QA comes in, oh, you didn't show our financials. Oh, there it is, my financials, and you explain. Use the time for QA for your financials, right? Give a demo if possible. How many of you have smartphones? I asked everybody. Everybody said yes. Please take them out, whip them out. Go to PlayStation, download this. You have. It depends on your time, of course. I'm telling you. If you're given half an hour or 7 minutes, maybe you can show a demo of the screens you have done as well. You showed some screenshots of it. Yeah, use that time or use a prop or bring that particular item here and show the audience. This is the audience this is what I'm going to market. This is where you will be investing. I love Netflix because it's easy to explain and easy. their their financials are very easy to explain how they make money. And this is one of my favorite screens for Netflix revenue model. Who are their customers and how they do it? It's as simple as that for Netflix. Try to make it simple as possible when you're talking about your revenue and metrics. We'll go to that. Data metrics and financials. Quick. One shot should give you a quick glimpse and understanding about your financials and metrics, right? Not allocating time enough for questions, Q&A. At the end of the session, you don't have time. You will run out of time. That's also is important. People want to ask you several. We had so many questions, and Dinesh had to stop us. He kept getting up and say, enough, enough, enough. You should allocate time for questions in the end of your session. You know, that's all for me about talking about pitching. I'm not going deep into how exactly your screens because each of your pitch was going to be different. If you have any, sir. Yeah, yeah, Ram.
Is it mandatory that you have to tell us like audience that what we are pitching for? That is it the amount that you are asking for? What is the
I
company?
mean, what are you pitching for? I mean, what's the reason you are here for the 3 minute or the 7 minute? Is it some your goal is there, ultimate goal? Is it for investors or what are you trying to sell your product?
Self valuation also be
Yeah, it can be. If that is the outcome of that particular session, why not? Yes, right, right.
sometimes it's been more than one person trying to pitch and handing it over one to the other. Is that a good strategy?
Um,
Handing it over to the right, but some are mostly it is.
the timing is important, and unless they have a speciality between each of them, it's no point giving it up to somebody. You can always say in the Q&A session, so and so is going to answer the questions for my partner. That question I'm going to divert it to him, or that question will be talked about him. And then it's no point doing that. It's good to have an effective speaker or somebody who can pitch rather than handing it over. It will be awkward sometimes, very awkward to do that. Yeah.
So we are always confused about vision and mission statement. So is it right to put a vision statement or a mission statement? So
Mission is something it's the goal where you want to be at the end. What do you want to see yourself? And the vision is the vehicle that takes you there. What you will do consistently over the days, over the years to get to that point, your destination. That's the mission. That's vision and that's mission.
I always get confused to mission to vision.
Yeah. Right. If there's nothing else, I'll call it back here. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So how do we know audience before we are pitching? Like wanted.
Right. A good question. Most of the places will announce who the investors are, who are the audience as well, though it is advertised. If you see it, it will be there. Who are your potential audience in the sense other than the investors, or who you're talking about?
Like like last time we gave a pitch here
Right.
itself, and it was ideation pitch. We were expecting few people. I mean, there will be different sort of people available here, but maybe that's our bad luck. There were no people present there, and we didn't get the input we actually wanted.
Hmm.
Like we didn't get some great questions.
Go ahead.
Any correct that? Actually, you didn't ask about any solution to no, like I don't know, like not about chewing there, but it's ideation. So need to take suggestions from people. Yeah, like we were not aware of the audience.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give you an example. Very recently, I saw a pitch where a woman was pitching about tender documents. There are a lot of tender documents all over, floating all over the world about some work or whatever it is. And this application, she says, all the tender documents have run into sometimes 1,000 pages or more, depending on the complexity of the project. She says, my app goes to these websites and gathers the information, makes it simple, and then to tender. So, but if I talk about the tender documents, none of you would be probably interested in tender documents. You're not into construction. You're all students. You're all educators, or you're from a different stream. So it won't interest you. So there could be situations like that. How to make it interesting is something you need to think about coming up with a story, how to make it user centric, or so that they will understand whatever you're saying. It's a challenge. It is a challenge. Yes, sir. Yeah. I before we had this session, I spoke with Srinivas over two or three calls, and I asked him, "Who is this session going to be? Who are the people? How is the setup going to be? How do I dress up my computer? Do I need my things? I bring all that." I asked him several times, over 2 or 3 calls. You can ask him; he's behind you. Yeah. So you need to make that decision to find out who is going to be there. Yeah. Thank you.
Usually, sometimes it so happens that the person that you said, sometimes when the sales guy is the best presenter of the bar, he also team of the which at the time he talks well, goes on stage, presents, but
Yeah.
not technically good to answer questions. You have this constraint of people not allowing you to get in somebody else to answer the technical questions. Sometimes I think people are very short of being able to handle this sort of things. Yeah, can they say, okay, we are applying for an patent, it's on the way or something like that, but they don't even look at it. Like, for example, I got, yeah, Chandramoli is developing that, which he, now then I went into the deep of this thing and there's somebody else who's doing it. They're only using that. I'll have to talk to him on the pricing and other stuff. It's a different story. But in case, if it's his team who's working and developing that, asking who he can. So that,
Yeah.
yeah, difficult to handle. Is there any way to say that? Come back to you or we will.
Yeah, because you can even tell it's going to take a little time. It's time consuming. Behind the scenes, right after I finish, I'm going to meet you in the lobby and explain it to you, sir,
Get the right guy to talk.
and get the right person to talk to you. Yes, that would be better to handle. Right. Right.
One more last thing. So we have time.
Yeah.
So we have 10 minutes break and one person.
Yeah.
Most of the pictures, I think people will agree. Most of the people go on stage for funds.
It's for fun.
People asking for money.
Money, funds.
People were saying, okay, so is there any a sort of template or something like this? Because most of the pictures were towards investors. We're talking about 80-90% of the pictures are largely towards investors. So any specific
Well, when
what
you
should that contain in investors?
Yeah, if you have a clear-cut financial matrix there, how many have bought your application, how many current people are using your application, how many prospective, and how much you have invested, how much you have in stock, and these things are very clear. Anybody in the audience will be able to say, I will invest in your firm. I will give you 5 lakhs. What will be my return over investment? You have to make that clear. What will be the stake you're going to give that person so that he invests in your application, in your app?
About myself, about what my app is, maybe the three whys.
Yeah.
The third one is becomes your critical thing is your financial.
Your financial model. It should be clear and it should be on one slide, easy to comprehend. Your financial model. And where do you see yourself in 10 years now, or 5 years now, or 2 years now? And who is your team? How strong is your team? Who are you? How passionate you are about that product, right? And most of all, when you're opening the session, connect with the audience. Have a story. Why this app? Why did you think about it? What was the problem you're trying to solve with this particular app or this gadget or whatever you're making?
Further, you said Netflix is the most easiest thing to explain. You go back and people like your finances.
Yeah, it's just people, subscribers. That's it, right? Nothing else. It's very easy to do that, but the way they do it, I mean, how they go into it, and they only buy content or they buy rights to sell movies or show movies on their platform, on demand videos. And they also have an AI working. Each time you look at and search for a particular genre of a movie, it starts giving you would also like to see, that's AI working behind the scenes. And yeah, it's as simple as revenue streams or subscription, nothing else, and the software that's running behind it. I remember the time when I went to US some 15 years. Then we went to into a convenience store. There was a huge red box. How many of you see? Anybody remembers that time? You have a red box, and on the small LED screen there, they had all the movies showing. Then he tapped the number of the screen, the movie he wanted, and paid. They put his credit card. The CD fell from the bottom there. He picked it up, and we came home and watched movie. And from there, now we are here. All those boxes are gone. The red box. So I'm just talking about how easy it is for them. I mean, they have competitors, of course. They have Disney. They have Hotstar. They have other people. Yes, sir.
How does language matter?
Sir, people should understand you. You don't need to have polished language, or you don't need to be convent educated at all. As long as people understand you very well, simple words, simple gestures, it helps. You don't need to be polished.
Because many of the students in my university are from local background and
Yes.
Telugu medium education, right? So they just think about the point in Telugu and then translate that into English in their mind. So that takes some time for them to access.
It does. Yeah, I
What
understand.
exactly you can suggest to them?
In Srinivas, maybe you can help me with this. It's in pure language. Uh, make it simple. Don't make it difficult on yours. You don't need to be a convent educated to communicate well. You can speak in your own language and in your own mother tongue or with your own accent to be understood with people. As long as you're clear.
Can I add a point here? I've seen was part of many pitches where people have asked like if they want to talk probably in a common language, right? The others understand either in Hindi or if it is you have lot of target audience in Telugu, then maybe you can speak in. So those opportunities are also coming in. So I've seen many people doing pitches in their own mother tongue.
And one more point here, it can be classified into two parts. One is the technological aspect and another one is financial. So many of my students in this university are with the technological advancement. So they doesn't have much focus on the financial aspects and how to make the or
Financial model for it. Yeah, somebody can help them out, and then that's it. That is the only thing. Somebody has to help them out how you can uh, generate revenue from that idea and put it up as a pitch.
One is find a mentor who is
Mentor.
or have like a because the engineering campus have management strength and
Absolutely.
or bring in an intern from MBA.
Collaborate with somebody who has that skills. Yeah.